did you notice that my face looks different? I waxed my mustache this morning.
Your upper lip, it just is so bright.
Have you ever gotten Botox?
No, I'm terrified of needles.
I get it on my forehead because my forehead's like and every time I go, they're like, wow, you have a big forehead. So thank you.
Well, you go somewhere else where they're
It's my sister.
Oh. Go somewhere else where they're not mean to you. It's my sister. Hi.
Hey.
I'm so twitchy. I was like moving my arm and couldn't remember where to look.
Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to us. We're recording on the first day of 2025.
Yeah.
And
holiday who?
We just exchanged Christmas presents.
Yes.
We saved all of you the unwrapping and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
and I gave you stuff from Sven. Sven's gift to you was on time.
I loved Sven's gift.
Yeah.
Kitchen witchery.
Yeah, he was trying to encourage you in your witchcraft
and
journey.
We are encouraging one another with shopping on TikTok.
Yeah, our personal gifts to each other are hilarious because we both opened it and we're like, oh, we clearly only shopped on TikTok Shop. Both almost bought like the things that we got each other.
I literally had a nightmare last night that I do have a problem, but that like my car was full of TikTok purchases. And that like my sister was like, you have a problem. I was like, but they're super cheap. It's like $15. And like, but my car was overflowing with TikTok purchases.
There's another thing that I like literally have saved on TikTok Shop for you. But now I have little confidence that you won't see it or get it for yourself before. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to get it for you for your birthday. That's way too long
it's
for
way
now.
Too long. This shirt is from TikTok.
Oh, this is Two Girls, One Ghost.
Oh, hi. Two Girls, One Ghost.
And this is a TikTok shopping channel. There is a guy on TikTok, actually, who has of course, I don't remember his name, but I always say I'll link it in the show notes.
Maybe.
But maybe. Sometimes I forget.
No promises.
Most of the time I forget. But he has like a javelin and he wears like a little wig and he judges all the TikTok Shop items and he puts them through rigorous tests. And he did one of a kid's microscope and holy shit, it looks so cool.
I want to get
microscope? Yes. Like examining cat hairs and rocks and bugs and leaves. Like it was unbelievable. That one was worth it.
That's really cool.
His reviews are great.
Should we show off what we got each other?
Yeah, we should.
Okay. I don't have the kitchen witchery book with me because it's in my
I gave
home.
it to you ahead of time.
I love it because I almost got this for you.
It's reminiscent of our time on tour too because no one has ever drank more Diet Coke than the two of us when we were on tour.
I need a Diet Coke.
Yeah. And I feel like every time we go anywhere ghost hunty, I'm always like, hey, I'm grabbing coffee. Do you want any? And you say, no, I already got a Diet Coke.
I got a Diet Coke. I literally did that. Yeah. And you told me that red's my color. So this is perfect.
It really is your color.
I'll
Makes
wear
you
it
look
for
like
the
really
next
tan
encounters.
Okay. I'm going to start I'm ranking my gifts with this one being my favorite. A Navy SEALs bug-in guide. Because obviously I'm paranoid and I want a bunker. And I actually almost bought this for myself and I have it saved in a TikTok folder for a gift idea for myself.
To yourself,
in the future. And now I don't need it because I have it. What are the chapters? Oh, before it's too late. Household items you need to hoard. This is perfect.
You're going to start. Yep.
Oh my gosh. This is like everyone's nightmare for their grandparents that have been hoarding stuff forever. You're
going to be one of those grandparents, yeah.
I know. Okay. This one I also almost bought for myself. Support your local dairy farmer.
Yeah.
And milk mamas.
And you also said you don't like the color gray, but then you always wear gray. And so
I don't not like the color gray. I just think that it doesn't do anything for my looks. But I buy only a few colors. And gray
is one of them. Yeah.
I wear a lot of gray, but I just, if I got one of those like color palette things done for me, it would not be on it.
Gray is not on there.
I sent Sabrina a hat that said this. I was like, oh my God. This is so me.
Also, the amount of times that you say like something is wrong with you and you're not diagnosed. So
I'm diagnosed, but something is definitely
We went comfy
wrong.
this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I did like oversized.
This is what I live in. And then my mom was here like a couple weeks ago and she like kind of gave me a little talking to. She was like, what are you using on your skin? Like, have you thought about, just even like a matching sweatsuit set will make you feel more put together and make you feel better. And so then for Christmas, she gave me a matching sweatpants suit, which actually I wear all the time now.
Wait,
that's nice. And I'm like, oh, I kind of need.
Can't wait to see
She was
that.
onto something. Maybe I do need to get some more matching sets. But I was like, oh, wow, clearly I've been. Every time she comes, I am Mama
sweats.
from Barbarian.
Yeah.
I look like her.
No, you don't.
I do. I saw myself naked fully in the mirror for the first time in a long time.
And I bet you probably did the bebe.
No, I didn't have to. It just naturally was there. I had to do nothing to
You're
contort my body.
beautiful.
I relate to Mama from Barbarian. Creeping around in the dead of night.
I think we all
Okay,
could
this
relate.
one, catch me on next week's episode wearing this. Because this is incredible. Can't today. I'm swamped. This is so good. It also kind of reminds me of one of my friends, Sim. I feel like he always wore t-shirts that were like kind of like funny graphic tees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm in my graphic tee era right now.
Yeah, they're good.
Oh, I got these
Great.
leopard pants that I'll wear next week.
Oh, I saw you post them yesterday. You were in a cemetery in your leopard pants.
Obsessed with them.
Where'd you get them from?
TikTok.
Oh, of course. Why did
And
I
they're
ask?
so soft and they're so comfortable. The only thing is they don't have like an indication, which is the front or the back. So I never know.
This isn't the most attractive, but like this is what feels right.
It feels
right
good.
now. It feels comfortable, and I need that.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That you're comfortable. Also, I'm Sabrina. That's Corinne.
Oh, hi.
What's up?
I'm like, hi. Like to who? The camera?
To everyone.
To
All of
everybody.
you.
But your leopard pants.
I love them.
They looked really cute. Leopard is very in.
It is.
Oh my gosh. And I got another gift. Brian gifted me something for Christmas, which was so cute and sentimental. And it actually made me realize something. And I don't know what's going on with our brains and the history of our podcast, but Brian gifted me this. It's a plaque
so
and it's to commemorate our very first episode, Bad Sleepover. And I go, August 13th. I was like, we published it on the 14th. He goes, no, 13th. And I said, no, it's the 14th. We celebrate our anniversary every single year on the 14th.
Or we've always said
he goes,
the 14th.
I looked it up though. So then I went on Spotify and I went on Apple Podcasts and I went on every single streaming platform. And we published on Sunday, the 13th. The 14th was a Monday. We have celebrated our anniversary incorrectly for over 7 years.
No, this is no, something changed in the universe. This is
right.
The Mandela effect.
It was 14.
It was
we
the
were
14th.
so positive it was 14. It was also like
that looks so. The 13th looks so
it
wrong.
looks wrong. It does. And it was also, we were so positive because we were also like, okay, like the 14th, it was also exactly like a 6-month anniversary to Valentine's Day, which was like the whole joke. It was always the 14th.
You just broke my brain.
Right? And I was so adamant. And he was like, well, when do you publish your episodes? I said on Sunday. And he went back on the calendar and he said 2017, Sunday was the 13th. And then I was like, well, maybe it was
actual heck.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, it was a time zone change. I probably published it and I was in Eastern. And it got published at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, the 13th.
I'm upset with the world.
Right?
This is Mandela effect.
I wish I didn't know.
This is Mandela effect. It has
to be. Because like
this is not correct.
No, it's wrong, but I guess it's right. I don't know. But
I'm suspicious of all of you.
It was shocking
like the universe
information.
I don't know who can I trust. I don't know. I don't understand it.
And I don't really understand how anything works, but I guess the plus side is one day our podcast anniversary will be on Friday the 13th. That's where we probably already missed a Friday the 13th.
Because we didn't even realize it.
Because we didn't know.
Well, shit.
Anyway.
Okay.
We're wrong.
I thought the only thing I had to be afraid of was like walking and tripping while I'm drinking my Stanley cup and the straw going through my brain. But apparently I have to be confused and concerned about my own memory.
Our shared memories.
Our recalls.
Yeah. How do you do your hair?
Oh, it's called not sleeping.
Yeah. Hard pivot.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for commenting on my hair, but did you notice that my face looks different? I waxed my mustache this morning.
No, I didn't notice that because I didn't realize you had a mustache.
Don't I look really beautiful? It's because I waxed my mustache.
Clean, so your upper lip, it just is so bright.
Yeah.
It's
shining.
illuminated.
Yeah. Who needs like lip filler when you just wax your lips?
That's how you make your lips bigger. You just take away any of the shadows.
Exactly. I think the shadows probably make it look bigger.
That's actually true.
Yeah. Anywho.
Well, people are going to start calling you thin-lipped Sabrina. Then you're going to have to get Botox or lip filler.
I don't have Botox.
How does it work?
Have you ever gotten Botox?
No, I'm terrified of needles. I can barely get the flu shot. I ask for the nose flu shot and they tell me no. Like, that's for children. And that was 5 years ago. So no, I don't, and
I
I never
need to
will.
get my Botox again.
Where do you get it done? Like in your face?
I get it on my forehead because my forehead's like and every time I go, they're like, "Wow, you have a big forehead." So thank you.
Oh, well, you go somewhere else where they're.
It's my sister.
Oh. Every time also squeaking like
the chair's laughing with me.
Go somewhere else where they're not mean to you. It's my sister.
I'm funny today. No, but other ones have said my forehead's big. It's just a fact. It's okay.
It's not.
Good size.
It's normal. It's average.
It's larger than average, but
Okay,
I think
whatever.
proportionate to my face, it's larger.
Do the finger trick.
I'm gonna squinch my fingers to make it 5.
It's a forehead. Your forehead is a forehead.
Okay, whatever. Anyway,
Whatever.
That's where I get it, and then I've gotten like a little right here, but I don't have to do that as much because those muscles are not as strong. Like I don't furrow my brow very much.
Yeah.
But yes, so I was in one of my nights where I couldn't sleep. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I had tried everything to fall asleep, so I turned to TikTok
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a video about like curly hair. And we both have wavy hair,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't really tame my wavy hair, so I usually blow dry it or do something to it or put it in a bun.
Do you have like my underlayer is straight up ringlet curls, but then my top layer, some of it's waves and some of it's just straight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Terribly.
And it's just like always like frizzy and doesn't like look good. And then when I put products in, it gets gross. So anyway, it's 3 a.m. I see a video about like if you have wavy hair, like after the shower, like you kind of like go like this with it and then you do finger curls.
Oh, yeah.
So I did that at 3 a.m. I like just got in the shower.
Like the curly girl method or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it actually looked really good, but then I touched it up with my wand.
It looks great.
Thank you.
When you walked in, I was like, I need to know how you did your hair because it's a lot tighter than when you've done the Dyson.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
I will say it was very time consuming, but if you don't sleep, which you don't, although you have a child, so.
I don't. Noah is no one fucking talks about this.
What?
Everyone's like, oh, once you got to the newborn stage, it gets so much better. I did not know about sleep regressions.
Yeah.
Noah was waking up. At first, it was like every 2 hours, when before he'd wake up every 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was every 2 hours. And then it was every hour. And then it was every 45 minutes. And then for the past 2 weeks, it was every 10 to 35 minutes. And he wouldn't go back to sleep unless I was holding him and rocking him. And I literally hallucinated one of the nights and was like seeing something darting around the room. I had to wake up Brian. I was like crying because I was like, this is unsafe. But Noah will not let Brian comfort him. Noah has decided that Brian is his friend, everyone else is his friend, and I am his sole caretaker. And he has quickly phased everyone out of every single duty that is a caretaking role. So Brian, like all the things that Brian used to do, it was like very 50-50.
Yeah.
Noah's been phasing him out, and he will not let Brian help rock him, put him to sleep, calm him, anything. So it has to be me. So
Even if you're like right there?
Yeah. So Brian tried for like 45 minutes, and then eventually I just had to like get up and
work through
be
your
supervised.
Oh.
So yeah, no, I wasn't sleeping either. That's why I don't answer your text messages. Because I can't read. I can't see a screen.
It's like blurring.
I'm like literally dead.
You're reading things that don't exist.
Oh, joy.
What is life? We can't trust our brains, clearly. Now you have more reason to not trust your brain.
I know.
But we talk about paranormal things.
Yes, we do.
Which we can trust and believe in because we know that there's something on the other side. Maybe it's even this side. Maybe it's just a weird alternate dimension. Maybe we're seeing slips in time.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
Where are the... Sorry, I'm leaving. Welcome to my TED Talk. Where are the people that started their podcast on August 14th? That's my question. Sorry, that was a really dramatic way of just literally shifting my weight.
You've been doing that a lot whenever. So I was watching one of the episodes back and you're just fully out of frame because you're just talking while standing and there's no shot with you in frame. So it's just like, well, there's just Corinne's torso.
My body hurts so much that I can't just shift. I have to put a lot of effort into like moving it.
Yeah.
It's creaky.
One day I want to sit in that chair.
We can switch.
One day.
I gave you that chair because you said that you like that side of your face.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's also my good side. But I was like, here's the thing. I'm not really giving good ever. So it is what it is.
That's so sweet.
I didn't want you to be upset. I felt like you'd be more self-conscious.
Because I'm vain and I'm shallow.
No, it's just you present beauty and you exude beauty. And even if I'm on my good side, oftentimes there is no beauty being exuded. So I was just like, here's the thing.
You're being so mean to yourself. Sometimes I just ignore it when you're being mean to you.
Well, my goal was just to show up, and I've been doing that. So I can have this chair.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's like so thoughtful. I can't with this chair. I'm going to cry.
I did the same thing for well, I guess I don't announce it because I don't want it to be like, you get your good side. But like for our holiday card, when they had us sit around the table, I chose the seat. You said, where should we sit? And so I was like, oh, I'll take the I know she wants that chair. So I went on the other side and I sat first.
Corinne, like, that is friendship.
What? Okay, and then there's
how I know you're not my sister, but
I should do your Botox. I would faint the second I like look at the needle. You'd wake up and I'd be
actually
on
like not okay.
Well,
right
why
now.
are you sleeping when I'm giving you Botox? I don't know. The scenario's got weird.
Okay. Anyway,
life is weird.
Find a best friend like Corinne who gives you your good side.
Yeah.
So nice.
You're welcome.
I love you.
Thank you.
Anyway, we haven't seen each other in a week. This is why we are talking
it feels like
so
forever.
much in the beginning. But we have Corinne has a story prepared for us.
I do. It's in honor of Ohio and the weirdness that happens there. Sorry, Ohio. But I feel like they like the reputation of being weird.
Well, Ohio is confusing because it's massive, but population-wise, it feels so small. And you don't hear much about Ohio. Shout out to Jerry and Sierra.
Yeah, except for
that's who I associate. Like when I think of Ohio,
I think of Jerry
them.
and Sierra. Yeah, Ladies and Tangents live there.
You know this. Sorry. Oh my gosh, people are probably like hating us. But Jerry and I have been talking about doing a podcast about being young divorcees, but it would be like a secret podcast that we hide behind Patreon, and it's like you have to pay to listen. So I've been talking to her about flying out to Ohio, and I'll see what's up with Ohio.
Are you gonna like mass record a bunch?
I was like, I don't know. I want to hang out with Jerry, and why not go to Ohio?
Why not?
Why not? And then we can record. So I don't know what we'll do.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah. And
I want
talk about our secrets.
I know.
You already know all my secrets.
I know. My heart is like racing because I'm very excited about it. And I'm curious about how much you guys will like pull from each other. You know, like I feel like this will be a yes and where it's like one person shares something and then suddenly something that you weren't going to share, you share.
Because we're both in our 30s and divorced. And so we were like, maybe we could talk about just that experience. And we both have very different experiences.
Yeah.
With that. And then the different kind of emotions that come with it, both good and bad.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll go to Ohio.
You should.
Okay.
I'm so excited for this podcast.
We have no like actual plans aside from we want to do it. And we wanted to do it for years.
You guys should have a relationship column portion, you know, where like in newspapers.
Ask Amy.
Yeah. You should do that where people write in and you guys just give
advice.
Or maybe terrible.
Unsolicited advice.
Unsolicited or like jokingly horrible.
Like go be feral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I like this.
It's great.
All right. So Ohio's weird.
Yeah. Stay weird, Ohio.
And we love it. But Ohio residents, I'm sure, are surely accustomed to turning on the news and seeing some odd, strange stories reported.
Ooh.
But Ohio's weirdness aside,
I'm
not sure anything could have prepared residents for the story of the Frogman.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Last Encounters, you read a story that included Frogman. And I was like, fuck, I had just put that on my list to cover later in the year.
This is perfect.
And I was like, that's it. I got to pull it up. We got to do it now.
We got to do it now. We got to learn about Frogman.
The Frogman, a cryptid, a police chase, and possibly a frog holding a wand. This is a story that really has it all. It is the Loveland Frogman. So without further ado, let's hop into it.
I hate you so much, but I love you.
I wrote it in caps because I was like, don't forget to say this. Don't forget to say this pun.
Oh, man.
All right.
Are we like extra funny or like is this chair extra squeaky? I can't tell.
No, I think we're not funny at all.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think we're just
so the chair's just extra
barely
squeaky. Alive. Yeah. Well,
we're alive. I think we're sleep deprived. Let's hop to it.
I'm excited.
Let's leap into this year with the story of a Frogman. What are other frog puns? All right, 19. If something comes to you, please interrupt.
Okay. Well,
1955. This is when the story of Frogman begins. In 1955, it had a lot going on. This is the year that Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat in Alabama. This was the year of the big space race. The Cold War was heating up. Racism and the murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till sparked national outrage. And Disneyland opened in Anaheim. So it was a confusing year. Yeah. There was a lot of bad, a lot of...
Actually, remember when Disneyland opened, it was so hot that people's shoes were sinking into the tar.
So nothing was really going right in 1955, it would appear.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, presumably, there was a lot on the mind of one businessman who was driving through Loveland, Ohio on a quiet night. He navigated his car along the Little Miami River, taking in the beautiful scenery. The trees were budding with new growth. The flowers were creeping their way up upon the thawing ground. It was May. And so this man, he turned and he navigated his car over a poorly lit bridge when in front of him, as he's glancing around and observing the scenery, he spots something that he will never, ever forget. 3 figures stood on the side of the road. Not human, kind of humanoid, but not really. He gets closer, and these 3 figures were frogs. And he's like, am I hallucinating? Is this a fever dream? It has to be, because they were not normal small frogs. These things were stood erect on their hind legs with leathery amphibian-like skin and distinctly frog faces. The figures were 3 to 4 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
That's like a 4th grader.
Yeah, okay.
And frogs are obviously not that big.
No.
Unless Ohio's got something going on.
There's
radioactive frogs.
Yeah, leak. It's 1955. I'm sure there's radioactive leaks there.
Before the businessman reached the figures, he pulls his car over to the side of the road and he watches. So he's just observing these figures. And they apparently don't have any problem with him just sitting on the side for I think it was a total of 3 minutes or something he watched. So for these 3 minutes, he sits in amazement as the creatures are conversing with one another.
How do they talk?
I don't know.
Ribbit.
Until one of the frogs pulls something over its head. And the guy is squinting. He's looking from his car and it's dark and his beams are kind of closer to the bridge, but it's really only street lamps that are illuminating them. And he squints and the item is becoming a little bit clearer. It's a rod of sorts that this frog, one of the trio, is holding above his head. The frog lifts it over his head.
Where's this going?
And sparks flew from it. It was a wand, a magical wand.
I was like, this is either going from 3 frogs hanging to an axe murderer frogman or a wand.
No, it was a magical wand. The frog raised the wand above its head and sparks flew out across him and his other 2 frog friends. Bippity boppity boo.
A rabbit, whoa.
Right?
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. There's a piece of missing information in this story, and that is what happened then.
Right.
Did they disappear amongst the magical wand? Did something else come from it? Did they jump into the river? Did they abduct the businessman and make them their frog king? I have no idea because the story basically just ends there. But we do know, I guess, that he wasn't the frog king because the businessman reported this encounter. I'm sure with reluctance because what the fuck? Yeah. Who would believe him? We do.
We do.
And with his report, supposedly there is a witness sketch, which if you're watching in YouTube, I will show you. But Sabrina?
Did he draw this himself?
I think so.
Okay.
This could not be. If this was the police department, Ohio, we got to talk to you. If that is a professional police sketch. Because that is
you're being gaslit.
Ask your 3rd grader to draw frogmen. Okay, so this is where the story sat for decades. One unnamed man's encounter with magical frogs just outside of the Appalachian Trail in this little town of Loveland, Ohio. It was lore, it was a fairy tale told amongst local kids, and it kind of just was that. But any question of validity of the story was answered some 2 decades later in 1972 when a police officer had a strange encounter.
In Loveland?
Uh-huh. Officer Ray Shockey of the Loveland Police Department was driving near that very same river in that same area. And this time it was March. So before the businessman, he was driving in the spring. Now it's winter, frog hibernation time. It was freezing out. The sun was setting. It was dusk, and he could just barely see with the last light.
And all of a sudden he hears, "Go on, kiss the girl."
You kissed the girl.
And then like the frogs were burning.
Suddenly something strange started across the road in front of this police officer. It was crouched. It was frog-like, yet it was huge, 3 to 4 feet. So this thing wasn't standing on its hind legs, but it was moving oddly across the ground. And Officer Shockey is like, hell no, am I going to witness this thing alone? So he turns right around. He heads back to the station where he convinces another officer, Mark Matthews, to go with him back to the spot that he'd just seen this thing. And they're like, what are the chances we're both going to see this mystical being out there again?
Exactly.
And I'm sure Matthews was like, okay, like whatever, I'll entertain this guy, but I certainly don't believe him.
Yeah.
So the two hop to it and they navigate the quiet roads along the river. And guess what they freaking saw?
Frogman.
A giant frog chilling by the side of the road.
Chilling
by the side of the road.
I like that every encounter, they're just sitting there.
Just hanging. Yeah.
But so this time it's just one frogman.
Just one frogman. Yeah. Yeah. The 1950s had a trio, 1970s solo frog.
He left the band.
I guess so. He's breaking free. Beyonce? Matthews clearly wasn't prepared to find anything. He didn't believe his friend, Officer Shockey, because his response was to shoot at the creature. So he pulled out his gun, he shot at it, and did he hit it? Well, according to lore, that is unclear, but we do know that these 2 police officers chased down this frogman. Some 40 years later, Matthews decided to go back on this story. He didn't necessarily deny the entire encounter or say that it was made up, not really, but he said, here's what actually happened.
Oh.
He said, it was March of 1972. He got a call from Ray Shockey, who was super spooked because Officer Ray Shockey saw something near Little Miami River. And he didn't believe Ray, but later that month on St. Patrick's Day, he was driving in the same area. So it's not like the two of them got together and like ran out. He just...
Interesting.
Shockey
Why
called
did he change his story so many years later? And it's so different.
I'm not entirely sure. So he said Officer Ray Shockey called him and was like, I just saw something so weird. And they were partners too. So it wasn't like he was just randomly calling someone at the police station. Like they were partners. And so Shockey's like, yo, I saw something weird.
Okay.
And later that month on St. Patrick's Day, I think it was like exactly 2 weeks later, Matthews is driving in the same area and he sees something run across the road right at that exact same spot that Officer Shockey had seen something. And so he shoots at it and shoots it. He then goes and collects the body and he puts it in his trunk and he brings the carcass to Ray. And Ray is like, yes, that is the creature that I saw.
This is a way more brutal and like...
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So the creature was not a magical frog. It was a sickly iguana missing its tail. And if you're like, how the fuck did an iguana live in the winter of Ohio? Well, apparently they believe it was an iguana that was kept as a pet and was like released or had escaped. And it was really sick, obviously, because that is not the climate that it should live in. And the spot that it had been seen by both Officer Shockey and by Officer Matthews was right near the pipes that released water used for cooling ovens in the boot factory right around the corner. So basically, this was one section where water was being released through the pipes that was warm. So it was like barely staying alive with this warm water right there. And Matthews was like, this thing was so close to death. It was so ill. It was like missing its tail because it was so sick.
He's saying that, but it's also like you killed him. So you don't actually know.
Yeah, how close to death was he?
He could have been thriving.
He was already dead when you saw him.
Yeah.
Matthews said that he wanted to tell the truth about the iguana because, and I'm not sure, again, like why he's correcting it so much further down the road. Maybe it's because this is maybe the first time someone asked him. I don't know. But he said that there was an author of an urban legends book about Ohio that interviewed him about the Frogman sighting. And he told him the story. And then when the book was published, the author had omitted the last part of like, and it was an iguana. It turned out to be an iguana. So then he was like, okay, well, this doesn't feel right because I'm like being quoted. I'm like, I gave this interview.
Misinformation, yeah.
And now I'm unknowingly a part of a hoax and I didn't intend to be. So that's what he said.
He has our dream being part of an urban legend. Are you kidding?
I know. That's so cool. That should be like a deathbed confession.
Save it for the end of your life.
Yeah. Come on.
Matthews, come on. I don't know. I don't trust Matthews. I don't trust him at all.
Matthews, are you listening to us? Tell us the Frogman is real. Well, it doesn't really matter what he said because we still have the businessman who saw the trio in the 50s with the magical wand.
And we have our listener from the last episode or the Encounters episode who saw Frogman at her window.
Exactly. And a lot of the locals, despite this one particular encounter being said that it wasn't actually a legit encounter of Frogman, Loveland residents proudly adopted Frogman as their local cryptid. They did not waffle in their beliefs, or at least their desire to believe in him. And sightings started becoming more and more frequent. And it wasn't people just like us, people who are like going out in hopes of seeing something.
Right.
It was just like random people who had no idea either what Frogman was or had, like these are people that I wanted to say had some legitimacy to them, but that makes us seem like we're not legitimate.
Well,
just because
we are, I don't know what we are.
People who weren't paranormal enthusiasts.
Okay.
I guess. Just your regular layman.
We just want to believe everything.
Yes.
We want everything to be real.
Yeah. These were non-believers who were suddenly encountering Frogman.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, okay, well, now we have these credible witnesses who have these bizarre details that are all similar to one another about this giant amphibian in Loveland, Ohio. Why here?
Right.
So the answer is unclear.
Because of the boot factory. There's
I guess
some radiation in that
the boot
water.
Factory. This is the Simpsons movie, and the boot factory is radioactive.
The boot factory is actually secretly a lab where they're studying frogmen, or they're like doing tests on frogs and turning people into like Spider-Man, but Frogman.
We need to call Matt Groening because he probably has the answer to what the fuck Frogman is.
Yeah.
So we don't really have an answer as to why here, but people were starting to speculate that there was a vast tunnel system underneath Loveland. Because there are a bunch of caves and sort of like entrances to tunnels. And so they're like, well,
there must be a secret
There must be a magical secret tunnel system where the frogmen thrive.
Yeah.
And so basically they were like, okay, there's a labyrinth of waterways and tunnels and places for these giant frogs to live and practice their magic, allowing...
Why am I now picturing like Beauty and the Beast, but like... What's the Princess and the Frog?
Yeah,
that movie.
The whole time I'm thinking of
like,
the Princess
it's
and the
all
Frog.
These men who've like wronged women in their past, and they have to like serve out some servitude as a frog and wait to be kissed by a princess.
Oh, yes.
And turn into a real man. And they're all like living
this
underground.
Is the anti-Disney movie.
It's basically a bunch of like divorcee men in the condos down the, there's like that
if
stereotype.
You need a podcast logo for you and Jerry, make a frog logo. That can be your mascot.
Frogs.
You gotta
kiss some frogs.
Kiss some frogs.
I'm really picturing like the stereotype condo apartment where it's all divorced men and like
just
very
like one single futon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they're frogs.
But they're all frogs.
But they're all frogs.
You can write that cartoon. That's a good one. Okay, so there's a lot of weirdness. And again, it doesn't really make sense why there are giant frogs. But even if there were giant frogs, how are they magical? How are they communicating with each other, standing up on hind legs with magical wands?
Yeah.
That is a question. Well, creatures like this, when they pop up,
when they hop up,
we must look to the people who have been on this land the longest, who know it the best. The local tribes. So the Shawnee tribe told of a similar beast along the banks of Little Miami River. Shawnahook, the river demon, they called it.
Oh.
It was a bipedal reptile, not unlike the frogman. And they were said to have rubbery greenish skin, bulging eyes, and to croak like a bullfrog. They would stand 3 to 4 feet tall, and they'd weigh between like 50 to 65, 70 pounds. So these things are big
boys. Yeah.
Big boys. They eat fish, they eat plants, but sometimes they would steal a goat or a calf, some substance.
Yeah.
And perhaps they would steal a human or two.
Because once you taste human, you can't go back.
Yeah. Delicious. People were said to have been going missing. And so the local tribesmen were like, we can't have our people kidnapped and killed. It's one thing for our goats to go missing, but it's another thing for people to just vanish.
Right.
And the Shawnahook was thought to be the culprit. And so they then went out, a bunch of these hunters were sent out to find and kill the Shawnahook. And they did apparently, I think, maybe kill some of them. But the story goes that they drove most of them out of the area, pushing them back into the cave system where they dwelled. So now we have evidence that some 300 years prior, there were oral stories being told of a very similar creature in this exact area. I'm wandless, though, maybe.
Well, evolution. They grew wands.
They grew wands. Recently, in 2016, there was another sighting. Sam Jacobs and his girlfriend were playing Pokemon Go in Loveland, Ohio.
Oh my God, that's the best encounter.
I know. And it's like such a 2016, like Pokemon Go is, it was all the rage.
Yeah.
And so they're out looking for Pokemon. It's Wednesday night and they cross the train tracks to the banks of Lake Isabella on the hunt for some of these Pokemon.
They found a real life one, basically.
Yes. Yeah, they didn't find Bulbasaur or Froakie. Wait, is it Froakie? I'm trying to remember the names of like the amphibian like Pokemon. Anywho, they did find a frog, a huge one, standing on its hind legs in the water about 4 feet tall. And Sam took some photos and videos.
There's photos?
I have no idea if this is a photo that he took, but it is on like all the sites where he reports it. Here's a photo. I have no idea if this is Sam's.
It's got glowing eyes.
But I do know that this is Sam's video, at least, which we'll put in the YouTube channel.
I'm like, okay, that the drawing that the businessman made isn't, I mean, it's bad, but it's not so bad.
Not totally
Because like the way that the torso is like, it is very bulbous.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh my gosh.
So he sent it into news sites. Yeah. It's pretty wild. And it's like one of those things where so like Sam and his girlfriend, after they had that encounter, they went back to his girlfriend's house. They were like kids. I think they were in high school. So they're back at the girlfriend's house and they're like, oh, we saw the weirdest thing. And they're telling her parents. And her parents are like, oh my God, you saw the Loveland Frogman. And they had never heard of the Frogman either. So they were just telling of this like giant frog creature that they'd seen, not even thinking that it was a cryptid, just like this weird, massive, oversized mutant frog. And so then he went to reporters and he like provided all of the photos and videos that he took. And this is, I feel like I am assuming he's in high school because I feel like this is such a high school thing to say.
What did he say?
I swear on my grandmother's grave, this is the truth.
Always on the grandmother's grave.
Yeah, you always have to swear on your grandparents' life.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of like that video reminds me of those old scuba diving helmets.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of looks like that because they have like the big bulgy eyes.
Yes.
And it's very Scooby-Doo.
You're right. It totally does look like that.
That's so wild.
So the sightings continue even to this day.
Yeah.
The legend only grows stronger. And the area has really adopted the Frogman as their mascot. In 2014, there was a musical called Hot Damn, It's the Loveland Frog. And it premiered at the Art Academy of Cincinnati during the 2014 Cincinnati Fringe Festival. And I'm going to show you a couple stills from it. Because I'm obsessed. This one's pretty dark.
See it.
But like, love their outfits.
Wow. This is a musical we would write.
100%. And like, it also gives me the confidence of like, why not get into local theater?
Why not?
Should we be like North Shore theater directors?
No.
You're supposed to say yes and in theater.
Which is why we should not do it. Because there's so many things that we want to do. And I think if anything, we should write a musical and have someone else produce it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll expand the team.
And we'll win a Tony.
Yeah, we're giving people jobs.
We're on our way to an EGOT.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we're above theater director.
All right.
Yeah.
Look at us. You're welcome, world. Okay,
you see how I no-and you? And it worked?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. Look at this.
You're all wrong, improvisers.
The real answer is no.
No.
And
but.
Yeah, no, but pivot. There just has to be a but. It can't just be a solid no. So obviously there's a musical. There have also been many books written about Frogman and a horror found footage movie created based on this cryptid.
Speaking of, I just watched Creep.
What's that?
The Mark Duplass movie. It's so fucking weird.
If you think it's weird, there's no way I'm going to like it.
No, you'll like it. It's kind of found footagey. It's basically like this guy hires someone to film his day, and it's Mark Duplass, and he says it's because like he's dying of cancer, and it turns into like a creepy.
Ooh, okay. Now I'm super intrigued. You're really good at elevator pitches because I feel like every time you give a 15-second like synopsis of something, you turn me so quick from being like, I don't want to watch that to holy shit, I need to watch that.
Yeah. Well, because so there's Creep and then there's Creep 2, and then I think recently the Creep tapes just came out. It's a TV show. But so before watching the show, I was like, I'm going to watch the first movie. And it made me feel uncomfy. It was, yeah. I really liked it.
Like,
I really
disturbing.
liked it. Disturbing and like a good, intriguing thriller. It's a good,
And a little different than many. Okay. Speaking of, let me just pivot really fast from the story, which is about to be done, and show everyone a couple of things my brother got me for Christmas.
Please.
A giant box of treasures. So A24 has a huge shop, which I had no idea about. And they have all of the screenplays with photo stills from their movies available as coffee table books. So sick.
Cool.
So Christian got me Hereditary.
Love it.
Which my brother and I are like big. He's so far ahead of me. We used to be like neck and neck with sharing spooky movies with each other. We'd be like, I rented this. Go watch it in the next 24 hours.
Christian finds really weird ones.
Christian is definitely more of like a depraved movie watcher than I am. He is less scarred. If he hears that there's something that's like so disturbing you can't watch it, he watches it.
So he's probably watched Tusk.
Oh, he certainly, I'm sure, has watched
We should talk about it.
Yeah. He's definitely ahead of me because
you have a child.
He just tells me everything. And then I've told him, I'm like, I need like a 1 year break because now I have to creep around in the middle of the night and I can't be thinking about these things in the dead of night when I'm solo. Fair. And then he got me the Talk to Me hand.
Ah! Oh my gosh.
And I need to look it up, but it's an incense burner. So you put incense in here and then there's a hole that comes out of the finger. So I'll figure it out. And then next year I'll wear my Yeah, well, if this was last week, this would have worked. Next week, I'll wear my Shrek shirt and we'll light the hand.
I'm like nervous. It feels so legit.
I know, doesn't it?
Wait, I love it.
Great gifts, though.
I was like, this is such a cool gift.
And then I was looking on A24's website and I was like, I kind of want to get all the coffee table books, all the screenplays.
This is perfect for our studio.
I know. Well, that's what he said. He was like, I got this for you. I figured you'd want to put it on your bookshelf.
I love it.
Okay, so whether the Frogman, to wrap it up, is a cryptid, a mutant, or just a very confused iguana or multiple iguanas, one thing is for sure, Frogman is one of Ohio's most enduring legends. And who knows, maybe one day we will capture proof. Maybe one day Sabrina will fly to Ohio, traverse around the rivers of Loveland, and kiss a few frogs along the way.
I just go to Ohio and I kiss everyone. Okay, well, now I need to know where Jerry lives in relation to Loveland, Ohio. But also, it's interesting because I feel like our story from our listener last episode was not from Ohio. Like, it was along the Appalachian Trail, I think more in the South. So I'm really curious.
Well, because Loveland is like right near Kentucky. It's like right near the border there. So I don't know where the last listener was, but I wonder if she was potentially in Kentucky. But it isn't one of those interesting things where it's like, the Appalachian Mountains are such a old mystical place,
right?
Where people don't understand what's going on, and there's just like an intense amount of cryptids and magic and demons and beings and portals and odd humans and just things like that happening.
Serial killers,
serial killers,
everything,
nature enthusiasts, birds. But it's like one of those things where it's like, could there just be some weird portal just pushing out frog people?
I mean, they're minding their own business. They seem to be...
Yeah, that's the other thing. They're just hanging.
Hopping around, chatting to each other. And like, I want to know more. I'm intrigued by the Frogman.
They seem like the most passive cryptid ever.
Right.
Because they really aren't
But then what's up with the magic wand? What are they doing?
I don't know.
I love that they're practicing magic.
What are they controlling in Ohio?
Everyone.
It's actually, like WandaVision, but it's the frogs control the Ohio and the Buckeyed people. What do they call themselves over there?
I don't know.
The Ohio residents.
I feel like Ohioan. No, wait.
Ohioans. It sounds like Ohioans.
Ohioans.
No,
not right.
That's wrong.
That is wrong. But frogmen are not wrong. I like them.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting.
I feel like I keep going to the like melon head cryptids and this idea of some type of radioactive test went wrong or something.
Yeah.
And they were just released or they escaped the lab.
See, that's like the thing that would make sense to me when it comes to their size and just all the stuff like that. Because it's also almost like I think of like dinosaurs and stuff. Like, are there creatures that we thought to be extinct, or are there creatures that used to be huge that maybe somewhere still a small subset exist? And so I would think radioactive or just prehistoric frog beings living in a cave system that we don't quite know exists makes sense. It's the magical wand where I'm like,
but no one has seen a magical wand since that experience.
That's true. And also the 50s maybe got into...
They were trying some LSD.
There was a lot of pill popping, I think, in the 50s.
Those benzos. Oh, I forgot to take my meds this morning.
I forgot to pop my pills.
I did. I forgot to. Oh, man.
Well, that's the Frogman.
I'll take it later. I like the Frogman. I couldn't find another listener story about the Frogman, so I went cryptid.
Lovely.
I went aliens and cryptid.
Wow. Ooh,
we got 2 in 1.
Well, this is great because also when I was doing my research, I didn't include them in this, but there were references of like the Kentucky goblins and another group that was like swimming in a lake or something, and then one woman got like pulled under and thought it was like a giant frogman, like very shape of water or something. And so the similar theme amongst all of these, aside from like amphibian like creatures or some sort of like weird goblin-y creature, was UFO sightings in all of these areas.
Well, I feel like my instinct was to think they're alien-like because like the bulbous heads, the slimy greenish texture. And
also I will say one other thing is that year, I think in the 1950s, it was either the year after or the same year that Creature of the Black Lagoon came out.
Oh, the movie.
Yes.
Oh.
So
people think there's some influence.
Potentially.
Interesting. Yeah, because you really do have to look at the time and what was happening to understand like legends and folklore a little bit.
Like why is there an uptick in sightings during certain periods of time?
But this isn't a legend, it's truth.
Yeah. And also it's like, what are people going to say about this time when there's so many UFO sightings?
And social media is so present.
Yeah.
Actually.
But it's also, it's not just like anecdotally someone calling into the news being like, I saw a UFO. Like there's so much footage.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that will be explained in a couple decades.
We'll all be dead by then.
Yeah, because the aliens will come and
kill us all.
Yeah.
Eat us. Yeah.
Or just take us to a new place.
Okay, well, this is from our listener, Jacqueline. And it's called Aliens and Discovering a New Cryptid.
Ooh, a new one.
Hi, wonderful, gorgeous ghouls. I'm Jacqueline. You can say my name if you'd like, because I will flip if I hear you read this on the podcast. She said some nice things to us, but I'm going to skip over that. Okay. I've always been into everything paranormal and cryptids, spirits, aliens, Bigfoot, and other cryptids. That's my thing. So I'm a longtime listener who has wanted to write in for a long time, but I couldn't think of anything to write in. And I wanted to send something that you both would like, which I love. And I've had a few experiences and I'll send those in another time, but nothing really has happened until recently.
Ooh, okay.
Cue dramatic. Dun, dun, dun. The first thing I wanted to talk about happened sometime this summer. I was at my friend's house and we decided to sit outside at her house to soak up the last bit of sun at our peaceful spot in her backyard before it got dark. She has a cute backyard with a view of an open field back behind her house that is surrounded by woods. We were talking, and the next thing we know, the only lights we have are our phones and a street light. We live in a peaceful area in upstate South Carolina, and the only things that we've encountered or had to worry about in her backyard have been rabbits and squirrels rustling in the bushes and leaves. And then, of course, spiders popping out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Being startled by wildlife is usually all we have to look out for. But this night was different. I had previously looked at my phone and it was a little past 9 o'clock. She and I were just sitting at her outdoor table facing each other. I could see the field and the woods behind her. And I'm really into stargazing, so I would periodically look up at the sky, and I've seen some fascinating and beautiful things. This night was different. I'm still looking for answers of what it could have been. As I was looking up in the sky, I saw something unusual. At first, I thought it was an airplane with a green light, but as I was watching, I realized it was not. It had a long stream of green light following behind it, reminding me of a shooting star. The craziest and frightening thing is that it looked like the aircraft was crashing. It looked low to the ground, and it was going very fast. It literally looked like it was about to crash into earth before it disappeared behind the dense tree line.
Oh my God.
And it all happened within seconds. I was yelling my friend's name and telling her to look, pointing her in the direction. Terrified, she turned around but didn't catch a glimpse of anything. No glowing green stream of light. And she was like, "What? What?" Finally, I found my words and I told her. We both sat there looking and listening because I was worried something actually crashed. I didn't know what to do. I was concerned and contemplating if I should call and report it to someone. I would have dragged her along with me to go investigate more if it hadn't been so far away. Eventually, we went inside because I was too spooked to stay outside. We always try to keep updated on when full moons are, meteor showers, etc. Like I said, I'm really into stargazing and I inherited the interest from my dad. We always try to keep updated on when full moons are, meteor showers, etc. My dad even likes to know the schedules of different satellites coming through our area. And I'm a very rational person, so I like to look at logical parts of things before jumping to conclusions. So when this instance happened, I immediately went into investigation mode. I was racking my brain thinking of what it could have been. I know what airplanes look like at night. I even know what satellites look like at night. And it was neither of those things. The next morning, I was telling my dad about the experience when I remembered something. About a year prior, I was driving home late one night around 12 o'clock in the morning when I saw what I thought was an airplane flying in the sky. When I got a second look, it had the same green glowing stream behind it.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been seeing footage too recently of kind of similar stuff.
The green glowing stream.
Yeah.
I asked my dad if he had known of any satellites orbiting at the time or rockets being launched, and he said no, he didn't know of any. The only logical explanation I can come up with is a rocket or a green shooting star. I don't know. Let me know if you have any thoughts. I think alien.
Aliens. Like you totally saw an alien.
Yeah.
It's some sort of spacecraft.
Something.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah. Okay. The second experience I want to talk about happened also late at night. I was on my way home from a friend's house, and this does kind of remind me of Frogman. I was on my way home from a friend's house when my headlights caught some eye shine in the distance. I slowed down because we have lots of wildlife around here and I didn't want to risk hitting anything. The weird thing was that this particular creature looked very long. The grass on the side of the road had grown up pretty high, so I was worried that whatever it was would disappear into the grass before I got a better look. As I got closer, I also noticed that it was like slinking, almost slithering across the road. Still, inching closer, I saw what I thought was a tail, but it was almost reflective. And when finally I got close enough and I almost halted to a stop to see what I thought was a new kind of cryptid that no one else in the world had ever seen before and that I was discovering, I realized it was actually a black cat and 5 baby kittens trailing behind her.
Oh, not an iguana, but close.
No, I laughed so hard and I continued home. Or was it a cryptid that tricked you and morphed really quickly into something else to make you think that you were actually just seeing a cat, but you were actually seeing a cryptid that didn't want to get caught? Duh. Those are 2 of my experiences I wanted to write about. Also, I recently started listening to your older episodes when I wait on new episodes to be released. And I know you guys always say, oh no, not the first few episodes. But yes, even those, I'm listening to them. I don't think they're as bad as you guys think.
No, and we're learning to like it because now we have a plaque to remember.
Yeah. And also, clearly, we don't remember when it came out.
No.
So how do we know if they're good or not? With that being said, I recently was listening to episode 11 and you guys were talking about Halloween costumes. In this instant, it's around the 4-minute, 20-second mark if you want to re-listen. And Corinne was talking about her Halloween costume ideas with her future kids. And she said she had decided that she would dress up as Jigsaw with a tricycle, put a wagon on the back of it, and bring her little mini jigsaws around with her.
Yeah, 100%. Once trick-or-treating starts, shoo in.
So just wanted to remind you in case you want to use it. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Oh, no, that one has been committed
and
to
you
memory.
have you have the Jacqueline costume. You have the Jigsaw costume.
Yeah, no, I pre-bought it.
Yeah. Thank you for reading this. I love you guys so much. When I listen, I feel like I'm driving down the road listening with a couple of my best friends. And if you guys want to go on tour again, please keep upstate South Carolina in mind. I wish you guys the best in life and plenty of peace, success, and happiness. See you on the other side, but hopefully this side as well, Jacqueline.
Well, Jacqueline, maybe you didn't find a new cryptid, but 100% that alien UFO sort of situation.
Yeah.
Like, what's the other explanation for that?
A shooting star with a green tail. I don't know.
Maybe.
But seeing it twice is interesting.
Yeah. And if it's like looking like it's going to crash too, like a shooting star is so distant and far away.
They come and go. It's so interesting.
It was like, remember I had that fireball experience where I saw a fireball when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And it was never reported anywhere. And like still to this day, I can't find any records of it. And it was huge. And my dog looked at it too and like looked at me like the world is ending. We got to go.
Because it wasn't a fireball.
I don't know. It looked like a fireball. But that's what I was thinking. Like maybe, I don't know.
I think Jacqueline saw an alien, and I'm still convinced that Jacqueline saw a creepy cryptid that morphed into or changed your reality to make you think you were seeing a cat. Oh my gosh. I understand why everyone loves TikTok so much because now my favorite thing is to scroll. It's because I'm disassociating. Anyway, there was a video of a man who he was driving on the road and he saw a kitten in the middle of the road. So he gets out of his car. He thinks he's going to save like one kitten. He goes towards the kitten, and all of a sudden, like literally dozens of kittens come pouring off the side of the road. Like it was like the one cat being like, it worked, and called all of his friends. He ends up rescuing 13 kittens.
13? Is that one litter? How many cats can one cat have?
I can't imagine it's one litter. I don't know, but 13 kittens. And I was like, why has this never happened to me?
Oh my gosh. I know. That's one of the weird things. I feel like, so in college, there was one girl in one of my classes who she had like 3 cats, her family did, and all 3 cats they just found on the side of the road. She said one day she was driving on the highway and saw a cat like and pulled over and went and scooped it up. I'm like, how are you I've never just seen a cat or kitten on the side of the road.
So I've definitely seen a cat or a kitten on the side of the road. And there was that one time when I lived in Marina del Rey or Playa del Rey, and there was a kitten I had like parked, and I saw a kitten under a car, but it was so scared that I couldn't get it out. Remember, like I literally was like crawling under this van trying to get it, and it wouldn't come.
Oh, poor baby.
I even called animal services, but they didn't like come.
I know. I feel like I don't want to insult anyone if they work for like animal control or animal services, but I kind of feel like they're useless in many different ways. Yeah. Like that's why I literally keep a pair of gloves in my car for
Remember
helping
when we
stray
saved
animals?
the bird?
Yes.
That was such a good experience.
Because I had my gloves, remember?
You ran
and my car was nearby. I was
like,
gotta go. I'll be back in 5. And I sprinted to my car and got my wildlife handling gloves.
And I was a bodyguard. I was like, watch out.
That bird would have been squished.
Yeah,
the amount of people going by with like strollers and bikes and stuff. Like,
because it also looked dead, but it was just stunned.
It was stunned. It had hit like a window or something in the early morning light.
Wow. Well, this was a fun episode. Thanks for being here, everyone. We love you. And next episode, you'll see us in our Christmas gifts that we got each other. If you have any encounters with Frogman or aliens or ghosts or anything, please email them to us at 2girls1ghostpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want episodes ad-free and 1 week early, join us on Patreon. We also have bonus episodes over there. We have campfire stories every Tuesday night where you can come share your ghost stories with us live.
And also for anyone that doesn't know, so Patreon is $5 a month.
And you get everything.
And you get everything. We only have 1 tier. And if you join for the whole year, you get a pretty significant discount.
Yeah, that's true. And
so
you get
less
a sticker.
Than $5 a month.
And a holiday card. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you guys for coming back. We're very excited for everything that we have planned for this year.
So many things.
So many things. Shout out to Jamie, who edits our podcast.
And shout out to all of you. We love you.
And we will see you on the other side.
Bye.